shall we?
That's
Hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let's call the November 12th TDC Marketing Communications Committee meeting to order. Noted that we do not have a quorum at this time. We have 3 in attendance. Are there any public comments? Okay, we're going to move to the approval of the minutes from March 4th. You could believe it. I looked at that date and I was like, wow, what's changed since March 4th?
And I think without a quorum, we can't approve.
We can't
the
do
minutes,
it, yeah.
So.
Okay, so we'll come back to that if we can. Otherwise, we'll have to just go straight to the director's update.
All right, my plan here is to walk you through the slides of the marketing and then communication slides, and then I've got a laundry list of interesting tidbits to catch you up through. But how we've generally approached things and where we are at this point, we have been fairly cautious in our marketing plan. We don't want to encourage anybody to put themselves in harm's way, but we are, and we don't want to get caught out with an ad that's in print that may, as conditions change, not be something you want out there. However, we need to and we want to keep South Walton top of mind with people. So in a lot of ways that has changed through this pandemic. We've gone through several different approaches, but for instance, when the beaches were shut down and the county asked us put out that message, make sure people know that the beaches are closed. We were able to obtain some drone video of the beaches empty, and we said, we started out with that video and said the beaches of Walton County are now closed, and then we transitioned to more traditional footage with people in it. Said, but when you're ready, when the world is ready, we'll be waiting. And I think that was a really good approach to do it because it was responsible and sensible. But on the other hand, you use these images that made people think, as soon as I'm ready, I'm going to be back down there. It gave them something to daydream about. And we did that same thing with our virtual beach vibes. And then on top of that, I think probably the most important thing we've done is we continue to daily update our COVID-19 travel page. And that's something that people who are planning to travel are very interested in. Even in a situation like we're in now, where they say, I want to know what the restrictions are. And the answer is there really aren't any currently. They need to know that too. And we keep the date up there that it was last updated so they know that it has been updated that morning and the information is still relevant. And people, I think, really appreciate knowing at least that we're on top of that they're getting the right information, that they're able to make their decisions based on what is up to date and correct, and to give people the confidence in that way. So that page has actually been our most popular page on our website, which may or may not be surprising to you, and people spend a good deal of time on that page. I expect that time to go down just because there's a little bit less information to consume these days. Where we had a lot to report, now we just are telling people that, well, the beaches are open, answer your first question. The restaurants are open, answer your second question. That's really and the shopping is open, answer your third question. Those are the top 3 things that people are asking us about. The events are starting to come back online. It's not something that a whole lot of people are interested in at this point because most people are still looking to do the family vacation. They want to know where they can stay that's clean and safe, and they can look at something besides the walls of their house that they've been staring at. And I like to think that the marketing efforts we've made are behind what led to our lightning quick rebound as soon as vacation rentals were open. And I mentioned earlier that we might be the #1 market in the U.S. right now. Our research firm Downs and St. Germain has a better overview of how all the other markets are doing, and they've told us that nobody is in the situation that we're in right now, which is a situation that is envied by everyone with small businesses that need to stay afloat. But while I would like to say it's 100% because of my genius marketing, I do want to say that South Walton was really well positioned for this. We're a drivable destination, which is important. 40% of our natural area is preserved and kept natural. The beaches, the bike paths, those investments that we've made in the community are really paying off in this kind of situation. And it is a place where people come and they can feel safe. And that is worth its weight in gold right now. So I've given you on page 2 here, the top marketing slide, a look at what some of these digital marketing ads might look like. Everything from just the awareness campaign. That's where we're reaching out. That's our widest net, where we're reaching out to everybody, and that's something we restarted after the summer to encourage fall visitation and winter visitation, which has always been our goal, is to shore up those shoulder seasons, not so much the summertime. And that gets them thinking about it. Once they're a little farther down the funnel, once they're researching our destination, then we're making sure they're getting those beach safety ads, answering your COVID-19 questions, pushing them to that page with that information. And then once they're in the destination, then we're hitting them with the stay 6 feet apart, wear your mask when you can't be 6 feet apart, take precautions, wash your hands. The general messaging from the CDC hasn't changed very much at all from day one. You're still just encouraging people to wash your hands, cover your mouth, that sort of thing. So that's something we make sure that we have them in destination. That follows a similar pattern to something that we've always done, or we've done for a long time now, and that we continue to do, which is our beach flag safety. So when somebody is in market, we want them to make sure that we're telling them what those colored flags mean, make sure they know to look out for it, make sure they know where to find that information. But obviously, that's not the ad you want to lead with when they're in Nashville, starting to dream of a beach destination. At that point, you're selling them on the quality of the product. So our digital analysis, the next slide down, you see where that net tightens, essentially. The first ads are reaching the most people, and then it as you get to fewer and fewer of the audience available, the people who are actively researching and the people who are in market, it tightens up a little bit. But for all of this, our video completion and our ad recall rates are very good. Next page, page 3, you see some of our top performing digital placements, what these might look like. The awareness ad on the left. Again, what we've switched to, and we've bought some more marketing photography this year that I think is just excellent and beautiful. But you look at that picture on the left, and what do you see? You see the wide open spaces of the state park. You see the beautiful beaches. You see the beautiful water, and that's the message that we want to send. That's what people really are going to connect with. On the right, you see what they're getting once they're in market. And while we're giving them an important message there, we are also showing them beautiful pictures of the beach. So that doesn't need to change much. And all of our marketing is gearing more towards making sure we keep that highlight on the beach, because all our research shows that is the #1 thing people are most interested in. And while over the wintertime, not this year because it's still like 85 degrees. I went swimming yesterday. Normally over the wintertime, you think about that as the time to move more into the biking and the hiking and that sort of thing. But even then, people are dreaming of the beach, and they're going to make their plans for later. That'll move us on to our communications section here, page 1 of that. Normally with BR, we are doing a lot of hosted media trips where we bring media into the market, and we've done none of that. So you see a big goose egg there for a number of media visits. That's out of an abundance of caution and has to do with the county's emergency declaration as well. But that does not mean that we're not reaching out to media constantly. I've got a virtual desk sides scheduled for this afternoon. We're constantly pitching ideas as they change, as they evolve, what's going on in the area, what's coming up. So as you see, current pitch themes, we're talking to people about intimate weddings. A lot of people have put off weddings for so long now that they're not going to put off weddings any longer. And the answer is these smaller scale weddings and how we can help host those. We were talking about the holidays. We go architectural highlights are always a good point for us. And pod travel, which is we all know what that means now, and I never thought that would be a phrase, but this idea, what we would have called multi-generational travel probably before, but it expands with the understanding that the people have their pods, and you'll see them come down here with their joined groups of children and friends, and they can stay in either one of the larger rental houses, or they can figure out a way that they're close together and they're interacting without each other or with each other in a safe way and getting that sense of normalcy. And then beer. Beer is always a good pitch, but Fall Brew is here. I'll show you some of the highlights later on. The reason we do some of the, whether it's beer or liquor or best hamburger, best cheeseburger, a lot of times you get these good one-off hits for that chef or that restaurant. And that's a great opportunity. While the article isn't about travel or even about just South Walton, it's a way for South Walton to get into these articles. And honestly, nothing motivates people quite like things to eat or drink. So it's a good introduction to South Walton there. Some of our latest, greatest hits. You'll see we've got some picked up by MSN on Thanksgiving. That started off in Oprah magazine. Southern Living. I always want to put an asterisk beside anything that says spring break in it. If you read that article, they used terms like family friendly, and they acknowledge that it's an upscale destination. So you're not talking about a college spring break, you're talking about family spring break. And some of these others, Reader's Digest there, what to know about booking holiday travel 2020. People are really looking for these how-tos. So we're happy to get into those, and that goes back a little bit towards how everybody needs to be acknowledging COVID, but a lot of times it's phrased a little bit differently. So if you look at, for instance, this Trip Savvy article, the best small towns in every state, we'll always take best small towns, but the subtext in it under current circumstances is that you don't want to be in a big town necessarily, or a lot of people don't. So those are, when you're pitching ideas, you need to be cognizant that that's the way that the media is moving these days. So you need to tailor your pitch with that in mind. Not everybody wants to talk directly about COVID, but you are keeping the current situation in mind when you're planning your travel. All right, and we've got some, the next slides are just kind of showing you how these look like in print or online. You might notice at this point that we've become a favorite in this Up Rocks. I've run out of bartenders just about who I can call and ask to be interviewed, but that's been a great way for dozens at this point of our restaurants to be highlighted. It's an ask an expert section, and there'll be 6 different bartenders interviewed, and we like for South Walton to be one of them. Because we weren't flying in people, we had some other opportunities for reaching out through the press. We actually got to do a Trip Savvy Instagram takeover, so South Walton got to take over Trip Savvy's page and post pictures of our destination, which is cool. It's all about that first step, the dreaming phase, and that's a resource for people who love to travel. So it's really cool that they let us be in that, and we didn't have to pay anything to be in that, which makes me love it even more. I'll pause for a second before I go through my laundry list here, see if you guys have any questions about either of those.
I have a few questions.
Sure.
Going back to website performance, do you have any data yet that shows what your volume is doing compared to the same time last year? Like, are more people going to the website or fewer?
Yeah, we're seeing upticks, so we're getting more people to our website, and you know, that's generally speaking a good thing. But you're seeing the upticks both in terms of normal seasonal, as we are moving into fall. More people are starting to make plans. So this latest report, we just got a big uptick month over month as people are planning that travel. I'll mention it in the next section as well, but this Thanksgiving and this Christmas will be our top performing ever. More people are looking to that, and that's both the continuation of a trend and an accelerated look at it, probably due in part at least to the shutdowns in spring.
You said that you had invested in some new photography.
Mm-hmm.
That one shot that shows, the beautiful lush green undeveloped area in the beach.
Mm-hmm.
May I ask who took that?
Yes, that was done by Sowall, but the photography arm of Sowall.
Kurt.
Yep.
Moon Creek.
Kurt. So
He does good
he's got
work.
beautiful pictures, and the fact was we weren't in a spot to do a photo shoot, refresh our photography like we normally would. It was great to be able to go to Kurt, look through what he had that already exists. And of course, with him being local, right place, right time is a little bit easier for him. And the photography we buy as much as humanly possible. I want to buy full rights for, so you pay a little bit more per photo, but you get to use them forever. And without having to do the photo shoot, you save a good amount on that end too. So that's worked out really nicely.
Good. So many of the drive market colleges and universities are canceling their spring breaks, but we're not anticipating that really being a big issue for us in this market because we are more family friendly. Are you guys collecting that information?
Yeah, we're collecting. We're using key data to see what the trends are. Of course, I keep saying I've never in my professional career just told people I don't know what's going to happen next so often, but that's the truth. We have this forward-looking information, and everybody's taking their best guess because in February nobody would have guessed that vacation rentals were going to be shut down in March and April. So I stand here confidently and tell you that this Thanksgiving will be our most visited Thanksgiving ever, with people traveling as families here on holiday. And then with slightly less confidence, I can tell you that probably the same thing will happen in Christmas. Once you get to next spring, I hesitate to tell you exactly what's going to happen. But what I can tell you we're seeing now is that even without fall breaks, people are still coming here, and they're coming here and working remotely or schooling remotely. And so we've actually seen more visitation during these fall months than we would have otherwise normally would.
Uprocks, did they run that Wine World piece I sent in?
I think that's still coming up, but I fully expect they will. And as soon as they do, we'll
That
send
is
that back
such
to
a
you.
cool website.
It's neat stuff. I mean, for people who are passionate about food and drink, for sure.
Thank you.
Sure thing. So I'm going to run through some just housekeeping here, I guess, and things that I think you might be interested in. Currently, our research firm is wrapping up. I believe they'll be in Nashville tonight. We're doing focus groups, so we've got some advertisements or some that we are testing on them. Make sure that people like, the way that the layout matches with the headline. Make sure that it speaks to them and reflects the destination in the right way. And I think those are just the coolest thing, because we can tell you why I think something works all day long, but to get it in front of a crowd of people and to test them and really delve into what you like about this, what you don't like about that, is really fun to do, and it makes sure that our marketing is going to reach its goal successfully. So we did focus group testing in Atlanta, Dallas, and Nashville, and looking forward to getting information back from that. We recently wrapped up and sent out the summer visitor tracking reports. So everybody should have gotten that, and it's on our website. I usually explain to people that summer, fall, winter, spring, they're all a different group in our area. So it's handy to not only do those year-end wrap-ups of this is the South Walton visitor, but to really look at them in each time. I don't think too much would surprise you about the summer. We continue to see more and more people come in here from Texas. Texas will generally, for the past couple of years, maybe 3 years, has been the #1 state for summer travel, mainly because they've got Houston and Dallas, whereas we get the #1 city is Atlanta still, but Georgia doesn't have another one of those big cities as a feeder market, and that hasn't changed with pandemic. We thought it's a long drive from Texas, and you have to drive by a couple hundred miles of beach to get to us from Texas, and I use that as an example a lot of times when I'm explaining that there really is something special about South Walton. So if people are willing to spend an extra couple hours in the car with their whole family to get here and probably pay more to do it, that what they're getting is of value. The bed tax collection and key data trends I was going to talk a little bit about. The most recently, we got September. We're up 53% this September over last September at the same rate of collection. In August, we were up 51% over the previous August. July, we were up 33%. And then beyond that, it stops being good news. June, we were down 6%, which is actually pretty terrific news to be that close in June. We weren't even open for that whole month. May was down 52%. April was down 85%. March was down 41%. February, before all this really got going, we were up 3%. So I think you're seeing a lot of people who rescheduled, is at least part of it. Their vacation was canceled in March and April, and so they were able to reschedule for a time in the distance that they thought this would all have blown over by, or that they thought they would have vacation. So that's part of the reason too, I think, that you're going to see the big bump for Christmas and Thanksgiving, is that when people canceled their vacation in the spring, they were looking for, when do I have that time off again, or when do I want to be there again. And it is my hope, though, that when they come for the fall and they get to enjoy the fall weather, that will be, they'll start coming more in the fall or more in the winter, and taking advantage of that and coming back for Christmas and Thanksgiving and in subsequent years. The beach was closed from March 19th to May 1st. And vacations rentals were closed from March 27th to May 19th. So that shows you, that tracks pretty perfectly with those visitation trends as well. So I mentioned to you that Thanksgiving and Christmas are looking good. So for our fiscal year, which runs from October to October, We were down about 7% for the year, even though we were super strong in August and September. But if you do a calendar year, like a January 1st to December 31st, I think we're going to come out 2 or 3% ahead for the year, which is remarkable. I think I mentioned already that we're probably sitting in a better position than any other destination. Just to take a step back, our general messaging during these times, and I've alluded to it already, is the more emphasis on the natural and the outdoor activities. We're still shying away from a direct call to action. We don't want to say, you should come down right now, if that's going to strike somebody's ear wrong. If somebody might hear that and think that we are, putting them in harm's way, and we don't want them to hear that. We want to be sure to let people know that they're welcome and come when they feel comfortable. But there's a potential blowback from a direct call to action that we do want to avoid. That being said, when you pair an ad, when you get an ad in front of the right audience with the right photography, it'll hit them in the right place. Whether whether they're in a mood to dream about it, or whether they're in a mood to start researching and making plans. That imagery is really what gets the idea across. As they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And speaking of pictures, we finally have a new PR specialist. We just hired Patty Blake, and we hired her away from the News Herald, where she was their chief photographer. Patty is a certified drone operator, and we're getting some super cool photography already from her. So that's really a good opportunity for us. If you guys have needs or ideas, we'd love to cooperate with any of our partners on that sort of thing. Let's see, the Perfect Awards. We have not announced the winners, but the voting has closed. So we had the nomination period and then the voting period for Perfect Award winners. Again, it's an opportunity for us to get our local businesses in front of people, where we get to put some marketing dollars behind this idea, get them remembering their favorite times, their favorite activities, their favorite meals. And that does help to get them to plan a new trip. We're not really we're different from most organizations in that when we're running these sort of contests, for lack of a better word, we're not trying to drive more hits to our website. We want people to vote once. The real value for us is to get that conversation going, to get those ads in front of people and remind them about South Walton. Again, always keeping us top of mind. We'll announce that in January. Normally we would have a Perfect Awards event, and we're going to have to figure out something else to do for that, some way to show our appreciation to our businesses and give them those accolades. Of course, as always, we'll have our Perfect Award magazine, which is something we hand out through the visitor center or we send out. People find it really helpful, and you get to see the top 3 places for dinner, top 3 places for lunch, top beach vendors, all kinds of cool categories that people have common questions about. The Artist of the Year, we are in that process as well. We have not announced the winner, but that'll be announced the same time, and that's always a great program, and it's just a good way that South Walton helps support the art community here. And I think the art is really one of the things that sets us apart as a destination. The event sponsorship program, we're having that again this year. That'll open in January, the applications for that. We are adding one new feature to it this year that I think is going to help out some of our smaller partners. Generally, how this program works is you apply, and if you're selected, you are awarded a marketing reimbursement. So up to $20,000. You spend that in the correct way on marketing that's outlined, and then show us how that was done, and then we reimburse you for those funds, which works great for businesses like Grand Boulevard or people that have a fair level of expertise, but for some of the volunteer-run organizations, it can be a little difficult for. So we're going to allow a program this year where if you want to do digital marketing through Zender, which is our ad agency, they'll make sure that you are hitting the right targets. They'll make sure that you're in line with the program, and instead of us reimbursing you for it, Zender will make the buy for you, and so you're never out any of that money. It does count against your total, of course. So if you spend $20,000 through Zender and then you show us $20,000 of receipts, we're going to be in for a hard conversation if you were just limited to the $20,000. But this could make it easier. It'll be a way, I believe, for our partners who want to take advantage of that to just say, hey, we want to do these markets and hit them with a Facebook ad, and Zender will help with that ad and that buy. And there won't need to be any reimbursement or any initial outlay of funds. So I think, not sure if people are going to, if everybody's going to want to take advantage of that, but for those who do, it'll be there as an option. The little bit of local news, North Walton TDT, they'll be, that passed the vote. They will start collecting in March. We'll establish a North Walton committee, and by law, the TDC committee has to have elected representation of the municipalities. Now, before, we were just South Walton, and we didn't have any municipalities, so that's why we had the mosquito control district representative and the fire safety. But now we do, there's still only one TDC, and it's the Walton County TDC, but now it will include North Walton, which has municipalities in there. So North Walton will get to have that representation on the TDC board with 2 members. So that'll be good. It remains the case that there are 2 different and separate special taxing districts. So the money, again, by state law, that's collected in each one has to be spent in each one. I think the first year they're expecting to raise about $300,000 in North Walton once they do that. But the way that will work is you collect for a year before you start spending. There will be some things that we can do in the meantime at no cost to start getting everything ready for the North Walton promotions. And I think that'll be a good thing because we'll be able to offer some ideas and activities that maybe don't exist in the south part of the county. But again, those will financially at least be separate spends. Let's see. And we also did a flexible co-op marketing opportunity. It's open. It's been open. It will stay open until I believe March. And normally our marketing co-op program opens for a week or 2, and that happened to be in a time when nobody really knew what was going to happen or how much money they were going to have. So what we did was we offered the second co-op marketing program and just left it open to where it'll be a digital opportunity. You can buy into this and run a month's worth of marketing in a co-op with the TDC, which helps keep the costs down for our partner businesses. And again, what we wanted to do there was people who had missed the boat because of this great uncertainty and then later came around and said, you know what, I need to get back to marketing and I do have some funds for it. We wanted to make that available to them. So we've done that, and I think that's a good program. And then the last thing I have on my list here, something I'm getting more and more excited about, despite myself, is one of our new print publications will be a bird guide. Hopefully here in time for the snowbirds to arrive. And the local bird people came in and they bullied me into making a bird guide, and they tell me that it's going to change the face of tourism in South Walton. So pretty soon we're going to have a bird guide, and anybody that wants to walk around with it in the state parks or the national forests are along the bay, we'll be able to identify all those birds you've been wondering about all this time.
When is that going to be ready?
Should have it. We're looking at proofs right now, so I think it'll be another month or so.
Yeah, everybody that walks in, they told me at Serenby Farms up in Georgia, everybody that walks into their place buys their bird guide.
Yeah, I have been.
Everybody walks out with a bird guide,
Isn't that crazy?
including us, and the little thing that makes the noises, makes an imitation of the bird call. The kids, you're gonna buy it.
Yeah,
Love that.
I
Good swag. Do the little bird thing.
I can't wait to see what happens. So I'm looking forward to that. And those are all my notes. If you guys have any other questions, feel free. If not, we can.
On.
Yes.
As far as the North Walton TDC goes, you said there's still one TDC for Walton County?
Mhm.
Okay, so there'll be a committee that's for North Walton in general, or were you speaking of a marketing committee?
I think it'll be a North Walton committee in general. It's still just the one TDC, and so the TDC board will have representation on it now from North Walton. But we'll kind of see how we arrange the different committees to make that work. It may be, best fit to have one committee that's focused on the North Walton activities.
Thank you.
But I do think that even as we do that, we should look at the bulk of the real talent in that is going to be in South Walton, or their business is going to be out with South Walton. Just naturally, the way things are, it's like we got serious power hitters. So.
Oh yeah, and that's on the council.
Sure.
Yeah, 5 out of the 7 will still be South Walton representatives. Is my understanding of it. And the funds raised in South Walton will be $27 million, and the funds raised in North Walton will be, $300,000 at first. So they're at the 2% rate, and they may expand up to 5%, but we'll see how that goes.
I have one more question. As far as Patty is concerned, I've already spoken with her. She's really sweet. The drones and the photos and things that you said we could offer partners. What do you mean exactly? Like, we could request that she.
If you've got a great idea, share it with me.
Okay.
And we wouldn't. If you're doing a photo shoot for your line of clothing or something like that, unless it was made in South Walton, basically. And I don't want this to sound too self-serving, but if there's a photo opportunity that I'd like to have, we'll go get it and we'll share it with you, at no charge.
Right. Well, for example, 30A.com just did a places to sail up, but they included places that aren't in South Walton, but you could do something like that, which would include Farm and Fire and, well, you can walk up and the bay and places like that would be something that we could pitch and then.
Yeah, and currently, we have photos of those places. We just, in many cases, don't have any aerial photos.
That's
I think
what I was
we've got some
thinking.
aerial of the bay, but I always want our photography to be as good as it can be. So there's an opportunity for better stuff. Then, to your point, that helps us tell different stories better.
Yeah, and specifically, I was thinking drone video footage, because that's what people want to see.
Yeah, and we're getting better at that. I don't have a real computer. I work on what's called a Wise box. So if I try to watch any video on that, it's probably going to crash. And that's sort of the situation. So we do less. A lot of our video editing still has to be run through our marketing agency to get that. So if you've seen the really cool video that we have, it's aerial shots of each of the neighborhoods or in-depth looks at each of the neighborhoods. That's something we partnered with that our ad agency helped us create because they're experts on that and they have real computers.
Okay. Gotcha.
Very good report. Thank you, David.
Right, thanks very much.
You've been saving up all that good stuff to share with us. Any comments for the committee? Other public comments? I move we adjourn. Thank you.